Hi Gemini, welcome to Yellow Cardinal Tarot with me. My name is Carole and this is going to be a general reading for you. And there's no date on this reading, so I trust that when it comes into your feed, it's meant for you at the time. So I'm going to jump right into your reading, Gemini. I'm going to start off with, what are you being asked to release right now that's no longer serving you? I'm going to be using the Ehrenberg Tarot. So let's ask Tarot one card right here. And so it comes in a sideways position. You have the Ten of Swords. Interesting card to come out for you for releasing. And what's coming up from your shadow that needs healing? And so this middle part is your unconscious. It's your shadow. It's those things that we push away when we're younger because we're told by other people that maybe we're not allowed to have these things or not allowed to use it or we're told we're a certain way and need to put certain things away. So it's like, you know, our true self is sitting here. It's hidden, it's buried, but there's a lot that needs healing here. That's that when it comes up for healing, and you know, I think you know when something's coming up, it's going to have the biggest impact on a certain situation in our life right now. And so this is what I need to know, because this needs to heal before you can release this right here. So let's ask Tarot right now, what's coming up from your shadow? And you know, your shadows when you were young. It could be when you were a child, an adolescent. There's something here that needs healing. And you need 3 cards to let me know. You have the Hermit in reverse, the 8 of Swords, and the 4 of Pentacles. Wow, I want you to take a look at the last 2 in particular. Look at these cards. Big message here, and I think that's going to be my message for your shadow. I don't think I'll need to clarify that. I have enough cards there to tell me what's going on. And now we're going to look at, this is a healing channel, and so I like to ask the Tarot for some guidance, because our healing journey is not something that happens overnight. I've been on my own intensive healing journey for 9 years. I mean, I've been on my own healing journey for like years, but intensively for 9, like working with a trauma coach and trying to, you know, through parts therapy, I'm trying to heal my own complex trauma. And this is how this tarot channel came about, was I was able to apply my parts to some of the cards, and it's just been beautiful how it's all kind of fell into place for me. And so what guidance does the tarot have? So we're just going to look at, you know, the guidance of, you know, what do you need to do next for the situation that you're sitting in? And it's very good at saying this is what you need to focus on. So what is it? What is it that Gemini needs to focus on here? What advice do you have for Gemini? Just one card. I was anxious to spit out 3 for your shadow, but now it's like, okay, let's see, one card for you. I think I'm going to go with this one because it's been, I've had my eye on it when it first started to move out of my deck. And it's the World card in reverse. Major Arcana card for you. You have 2 Major Arcana cards on the table. So those are big universal forces for you that are in play. So let's start off with what are you being asked to release that's no longer serving you? We have the 10 of Swords in a sideways position. In an upright position, it's very important to know what the swords are. Swords are your mental thoughts, mental opinions that you have about yourself, and you hear them, right? That you know, we sort of think we have an idea of who we are and what we are, and we get reminded every so often in our head. That's our ego self repeating these things over and over again. And believe it or not, oftentimes these things, your mind, those things they repeat to you, like you're so stupid, or you're so lazy, or you're so dumb, or you're so ugly. Those things that you say all the time to yourself are things that people told you when you were younger. And we've picked them up, right? And they become these swords. You know, it's no surprise that the 3 of Swords is piercing a heart. But the 10 of Swords is the end of the cycle, right? And I think what's happening is these thoughts and these opinions that you have about yourself are pretty much doing you in. This is sideways right now. And so I think it's time for you to really take a look at, what are these things you keep telling yourself? Like that needs to be released. But let's get some more clarifiers on this before we move on to your shadow. Well, interestingly, you get the Hermit, and he's coming up in your shadow, and he's in reverse as well. And that's a major arcana card. I'm going to end there because something said to me, the fact, and I just kind of went to the end of the deck and see if something else would come out. But because this same card right now is showing up, it's coming in your shadow as a first card, and it's here, right here. So in your, what you need to release. So this is a very important card for you. There's two of them, and they're in the same position. They're blocked. The Hermit card talks about, it's a card about going inwards. It's a card about shining a light on your truth, on your authenticity. And we find that by getting back in our body, right? Because you're up in your head right now with these thoughts that you keep spinning on. You're up in your head, and that is your ego self that will keep you up in your head, spinning over and over. Why does it do that? Well, because it doesn't want you to get into your body, first of all, because that's where all your big emotions are. And you heal through your feeling your emotions. It doesn't want you to get to your authentic self because it knows it's a real protector part. It's just, concerned for your safety. And it forgets that you're an adult. So it still treats you as if you're a child. And so it will continually repeat these things to you because that's what your ego self learned from it just repeats your childhood over and over. And it wants to keep you status quo. It wants to keep you small, safe. It thinks that's keeping you safe. But there's a real need for you now to get back in your body. And so I'm going to say there's a real need for you to get grounded. Yeah, this is about grounding. And so when you were younger, what needs healing here? Well, I can see already that you were in a situation when you were younger where you, because it's blocked here, so you were in a situation when you were younger that being in your body, going inwards and staying in your body. And when we were really young, about 4, 5, 6 years old, we were in our body. We knew who we were. We knew what we wanted to do. But then we were told as we grow up, well, no, this is who you are. This is the way you are. That's how you're supposed to act. You're not allowed to do that. You're not. And so we put on these masks, and you learned when you were younger that, staying in your body was not a good thing. That's your authentic self when you're in your body. But you learn to go up, stay in your head, where you could continue to go put on these different masks that people told you to put on when you were younger. You felt very, very trapped when you were younger. I mean, in this upright, this is the Eight of Swords. And if you look at her, she's got string around her wrists. She actually thinks she can't walk away. She actually thinks she's trapped and she can't. When you were younger, you were trapped. You could not. You were in a situation where you were unable to use your emotions because you were taught. And trapped can mean so many different things when you're younger. You can take it literally, right? I once did a reading for somebody that 2 Eight of Swords were beside each other. And they did say that, yes, I was tied up when I was younger. And so there was a real controlling environment when you were younger, where you knew your emotions were not safe. You tried to take out your emotions and it was like, no. So you knew that the body was not a safe place to be when you were younger. I mean, here's another, look at this this is the Four of Pentacles. Look at this situation. I mean, talk about being chained or tied up or trapped when you were younger. There was no way. It was very heavy for you, right? This is a Miser card. This is a card of like holding on, feeling very when people hoard things, when they hold on to things, when they won't let things go, it's really a card of insecurity. You know, maybe you are somebody that holds on to things and holds on to material things, hoards. And that's really, it's like, you know, and I've talked to somebody before that had that, you know, I don't know if I want to call it an addiction or an issue where they hoarded things and they were being asked to get rid of it, but they was just like, no, when I was younger, my stuff was taken from me. And so now I hold on to all this stuff because there's this fear that's behind letting something go. And I think there's a huge fear in you letting who you were told you were, letting that go, right? And so that's our ego self that will continue to repeat these things in our head because it's a scared part. Like I said, it doesn't want you to go towards your authenticity, find out who you are, go inwards. And yeah, you were very scared when you were younger. And that's where that fear is coming in because you were told, you know, get out of your body, stay out of your body. It's not a safe place to be, you know, because when we have these big emotions when we're younger and we try to express them like fear and anger and, you know, we want to cry and express our hopelessness, and we were shut down. A lot of us were shut down. And so that's what's happening here. And so you have, what guidance does the tarot have for you in relationship to this situation? Well, you have the World card. You know, this is a beautiful dancer, a ballerina, dancing of it. This is a card of, it's the last card in the deck. So I look at it as like this card, this card of wholeness, of completion, of when your feminine side and your masculine side. I mean, we've talked about the masculine side being your ego, and then this feminine side of getting back in your body. We have both of those parts. We are masculine and we are feminine. It has nothing to do with your gender. And this card is like a card of wholeness, a card of awareness, of bringing you back. And it's all about you becoming aware, because it's in reverse here. But the universe wants to turn this card around, is asking you, it's time now that you become aware of how much you've let this side of you, this ego self, dictate who you are, who you're supposed to be, when that's not really you. And it's time now that you realize that this is all coming from your childhood and when you were trapped into believing who you were and believing that you couldn't go back into your body and realize it's a safe place to be. Because, you know, there's big emotions there for you. And so the universe wants you to bring this feminine side of you back in and say, listen, it doesn't have anything to do with our gender, you know. And so let's get some more clarifiers here for this World card. And, you know, let's get a bit more specific on how, what you need to focus on now in particular. You know, how are you going to be able to bring this feminine side back into you? What do you need to focus on? You have one card, which, no surprises, the Queen of Wands, and the Queen is our feminine side. She is the one that, she's got that wand in her hand. She's the card of creativity, wanting to take her life into the direction she wants to go into, right? She's very creative. She puts herself first. She's very embodied. She lives from her body, and she knows when it's time to get really still and quiet and you know, and get in touch with her intuition. But she's blocked right now. So because she's blocked, I'm going to say that there's a little bit of anger here that you need to look at for sure. And then you've got this Page of Wands and sort of sideways here, right? And so the pages show up in my deck when they're inner children. There's 4 of them. I know mainstream psychology likes to say we just have one, but I know that I have more than one inner child. And this particular child, when you are 4, 5, 6 years old, needs healing. There's an inner child here that needs healing, and it's holding the wand, right? It knew what it wanted to do. It knew where it wanted to go when it was 4, 5, 6 years old. But you were completely shut down when you were younger, right? And I think there's some anger that needs to come out here. You were told that you were a different person. And so there's some real inner child healing that needs to come forward, because there's a direction here that you need to go into. And it holds that direction. It's like it wants to talk to you. It wants to tell you who you are, where you're meant to go, right? But we got to heal that one. And so there's some emotions here. And so I'm going to say that there's a real need for you to learn how to ground yourself. Get back into your body and sit with yourself and see if you can't get in touch with this inner child. You know, do some journaling and see if you can't get in touch with this inner child and what it wants to say to you. Because when we want to heal our inner children, we want to listen to them. And we need to feel those feelings that they're feeling. Maybe they're really angry. And they also have some grief that they need to express as well. And so I want you to have compassion for yourself, Gemini, for what you're working through. This is a very difficult journey, the healing journey, but it's the most important one in your life. So take care, and I'll talk soon. Bye.